Yes, London Electricity here. Hello. It's heading towards the end of April, and it's heading towards the 10th anniversary of the release of my album Yikes. So I've decided to really work on the tunes on Yikes, bring them back up, and it's not a question of remastering, it's actually a question of going back into the Cubase project and redoing the entire mixdowns as I wish I'd done 10 years ago, but I didn't really know much 10 years ago. I don't know much now, but I know a little bit more. So I'm going to just take you through the plan that cannot fail and what I'm doing with it. So I hope you might learn a tiny little thing from this. Maybe not, who knows. Okay, so we've got the project up, and I'll show you a little bit how I actually organise my projects. I like loads and loads of subgroups, and you can see here on the mixer, if I widen it a little bit, I've got a kick drum subgroup. Always roll off about 50 hertz on the steepest curve filter slope possible. BX boom is brilliant on the kick drum, and it basically kind of adds a real nice chesty thump. So let's just solo the kicks. It's a bit higher, that's a bit low. I like it in the middle. Oh, look at me. I've used two instances of boom. Well, that's okay. One on the audio channel and one on the subgroup. That's fine. What have I put on the snare? I've put on just a little bit of EQ to help with the frequencies, and on the subgroup I've got the roll off, high pass roll off, to get rid of any rumble, and the Ozone 5 maximizer I actually find really useful as a track utility rather than a mastering utility. It's ever so quick to catch peaks. That was the snares. Here we go. So here we go. As you can see, it's really catching the peaks, but not kind of manking up the sound of the snare. It basically means it will mix down a lot easier on the master output bus if we do this now. Now, drum body. What I do with my breaks, I chop them up into 3 lanes: kick drum, snare drum, and body. Now, the body is basically the drum break without the kick and the snares, or at least with the kick and the snares ducked, using the kick and the snare individual tracks. But the body's really great. It has all the atmosphere. So it's got the natural reverb from the break, and I kind of work on the body like this. So I put a compressor over the body, and it's side chained to activate whenever the kick and the snare hit. So on the kick channel, you'll find a side chain, and on the snare channel ditto. So actually it looks like only the snare's activating it, but that's cool. But it's really nice because it brings up the atmosphere of the drum break in between the crucial kick and snare hits that you really need to kind of sing out. The original break wasn't anywhere near as punchy as this. I've also put the trance mod on the body. That's interesting. I can't hear that it's doing anything, but it's not doing any harm, so I'll leave it on there. Standardly, kind of shakers and hi-hats go into a subgroup that I call high percussion or high frequency percussion. There it is. Sounds like this. Just pan them left and right. Occasionally I'll kind of auto pan them, and I've got rides down here. I mean, the drums all in all really pretty simple. Anything that isn't a kick drum, I'd really take off a lot of the bottom end with a very, very steep curve. Usually try and get that on 48. So to the bass, I've got basically, what's this? I've got a towel bass and I've got Ace bass. Towel is the synth that I used and Ace is the synth that I used, and together they sound like this. So the towel is the kind of top frequency part of the bass line, the mid-range kind of like sawtooth. And the Ace is the kind of sub, but it's nicer than a sine wave sub. It's got more to it. What have I put on that sub? Nothing. Great. It didn't really need anything. What about the actual? No, nothing at all. It was lovely as it was. That's good. Then Ace pad pumping. And that's pumping because before I rendered it, remember, I always render every instrument track, and that's for several reasons. One, it saves processor headroom. Two, it means I'm not going to lose it. It's always there forever. And three, it makes it a lot easier in the future when you pull up a project like this 10 years after you made it and it's got everything intact, regardless of whether those instrument plugins will have gone out of date or won't kind of fit the latest operating system or whatever. So I do actually burn big clusters of plugins as well, for the same reason, to reduce headroom and to make sure it's future-proofed. So this pad is pumping because it was side-chained when it was an instrument. Side-chained probably to the kick and snare, this one as well. And that was maybe the little-known, really good synth plugin called Helix. I don't even know if it's still around. This is quite a cool sound. Really crunchy, really hissy, but lovely. I got it in key and it works really well. So piano loop strings, this is the intro. Crunchy piano, really crunchy piano, and it's crunchy because I've got two kind of really good enhancement plugins on it to make it sing. One's the Noveltech Character, which I absolutely love. The Character produces really nice harmonics. And then Unfilter. Unfilter is a really, really interesting plugin. It can actually, if you've got really annoying resonance on an audio track, then Unfilter by Zynaptic, it zooms in on that resonance and it will get rid of it for you, in theory. So if I bypass both of these, there you go. Right, so you can hear that if you see that horrible peak there that was really bugging me, I kind of tried with EQ and failed dismally to deal with it. Unfiltered deals with it. I don't know how it does it, but it does it really well. There you go. I'm adding all the crunch with Character. On its own, it sounds a little bit too crunchy, but in the mix, it sounds great. This piano. Have a look. Here we go. And that kind of helicopter sound is actually, I think, from a really old sound effects record. It's a steam train, but I really like it in this tune. It really brings something. And on the steam train, I've just got the Sound Toys Pan Man, with a slow pan and quite a steep high pass here. Clean Sweep's got a Clean Sweep's a really good utility. It's free, and it's got a nice kind of high pass or low pass. And Brainworks also do a brilliant free plugin called Solo, which is really good for widening, and that's free as well. What else we got here? Oh yeah, so the massive themes. Oh, before I do that, there's when I was redoing this mix yesterday, I discovered that the rotary guitar part, in fact most of the guitar parts in this tune, I couldn't really hear them properly in the original mixdown. So I've kind of based this mixdown more around the guitars to really bring them out. So this is a rotary guitar. So that's a very simple guitar part that's basically just going up fifths and octaves. But it does add a really good texture to the tune, and it adds movement, harmonic movement. I'll take it out. Okay, and the other really important aspect of this tune, aside from drums, bass, samples and harmony, is the theme, the main lead theme. And I've actually, if you see, I've made a folder. I do this sometimes to subgroup parts that go together. So I've put all the theme tracks in a folder called theme parts. Makes it a bit easier. If you solo the folder, it solos all the bits. So the theme on it with everything sounds like this. That's funny. Sounds like there's something else in there, but there isn't. So it's crunchy and there are some clicks in there, but you don't hear them in the mix. Let's see what's actually in there. So there's a lead guitar. So for some reason I gave it a massive boost at 500 hertz. Seems to make it sound all right to me. I also doubled this theme with strings. And it seems like when I rendered that I accidentally included the crash cymbals, but it doesn't really matter because it sits well in the mix. I've put an insert reverb on this. One of my favourite little reverbs is Torreverb by D16. There's a Torreverb 2 now, but the one's really good. I just like it for little rim sounds and stuff that's not really so much on the send bus, but more on the insert bus on our track. And it's very, very low CPU, so it's dead useful. What else have I got here? This is doing the theme as well. And that's played by a synth. I can't actually remember what it was, but I can hear that it's too clicky. So this should sort it out if I simply bring up the envelope follower, envelope shaper, and reduce the attack by about that. Hasn't quite caught it, so even though I've got attack on minus 20 dB, so what we'll do, we'll go for a slightly more nuclear option, and we'll go for the RX7D clip. I think I've got enough processing power for this. Yes, I have. Put the quality on medium. And that works like magic. I brought the threshold down to 9.7 dB. The quality is fine on medium. Heavy, high uses a lot of DSP, so I'll keep that there. I'm very pleased with that. Actually, it's still clicking a bit, so I'll squeeze it more there. Actually, it's not really doing much, is it? Oh well, you got to try these things. I'm just gonna leave it as it was because I couldn't hear those clicks in the context of the tune like this. There's this funny thing, which is actually a Martineau. It's a really ancient synthesizer. Well, it's not the real one, it's a plug-in, but... Okay, then we have the middle section, which is where my very honestly named trance stabs come in. Not a trance fan, but these were perfect for the tune. I just made them with Vanguard. Vanguard's a really great little synth for sort of sequences and trancey stabs and stuff like that. So this is rendered, and when it gets to this bit, I really went to work on the reverb between each trance stab to make each reverb different. And what did we do? Let's see. That's interesting because it actually hasn't got the effects that I thought I had on it. Why not? No, it hasn't. That's weird. Anyway, let's hear it in the chin. I think it sounds all right. Yeah. So in the second half, the harmony gets a bit more complex. The bass and the chords, they do a lot more compositionally, and to kind of enhance those, there's a new guitar line that comes in, which again wasn't really obvious when I mixed it 10 years ago. So it goes like this. So I'm actually really happy with that line and the way it integrates with with the chords. Quite proud of that. So just on the subgroup to process it, I've got the Magneto, which is a really, really good saturation plugin. Comes with Cubase. The Cubase inbuilt compressor that you can sidechain. That's the little sidechain button. What's feeding the sidechain? Don't know. Whatever it is, it works. Synopsis Stereo Tools, which is a really handy widener. Just increases the stereo width, gets a bit more definition in, and the bog standard limiter to catch any peaks. Haven't got anything on the channel strip. So let me just show you this guitar line and how it interacts with the pads and the bass. So yeah. And I think in all the years I've been writing music, that is definitely one of my best chord progressions that I've ever come up with. And it really kind of nails the second half of this tune. So that is the plan that cannot fail, revisited. I hope you found my kind of workflow moderately interesting. Anyway, sorry if you haven't, but this is how I do stuff.
I'm actually doing that.
So I'll leave it there.
Every tune on Yikes. There's a really, really nice unreleased orchestral version of Invisible Worlds, which is orchestrated and arranged by Lawrence Tolerance, who did What the Future Holds, the string parts for that by Spy. Anyway, when's it going to come out? It's probably going to come out towards the end of May. And if I find any other sort of special versions, unreleased versions, whatever, I'll polish them up and put them in the package with the album. So it'll be digital only because we don't have time to do any sort of CD or vinyl version. But you'll be able to download it from the hospital shop. You'll be able to obviously stream it and let me know what you think when you've heard it. Okay, see you soon.